know her because she's a celebrity. She's been mentioned in the previous two presentations. But here she is, in the flesh, Tolu Fashuyi.
Good morning, good afternoon, guys. How are you today? Feeling good? Okay, for those of you who do not know me, my name is Tolu Fashuyi, and I graduated last semester from Buffalo State College, where we are right now. And I'm one of the delegates of Rwanda 2016, which is why my picture's been everywhere, right? Okay, one thing I must say about this experience is that it's been not only an eye-opening experience, but it has opened a couple of doors to me as well. Because of my love for travel and learning, I've applied the experience from Rwanda and what I've taken from drama-based education, and I will be using that next year in Korea to teach students in English. So I'm very excited, and I'm very thankful. Okay, bravo, guys. Bravo. This is me in Rwanda. All right. Okay. I forgot about that, sorry. Okay, so why Africa? Does anyone want to tell me why I'd be crazy enough to go to Africa? No? It's okay, I'm African, I won't be offended, it's okay. Okay, so why Africa or why Rwanda? Well, after sharing the good news that I would be traveling to Rwanda, I received a lot of interesting comments and negative questions or comments, I guess you would say, or ignorant comments. One of the reasons, why would you go to Africa, Ebola, Ebola, Ebola? And I'm like, what are you talking about? That was like so 2000 and whatever. We're kind of over that now. But at the same time, I tried really hard not to get offended because could I really fault these people for their views or their ideas when the media constantly portrays the negative views about Africa. So for most people, this is their idea of Africa. One Africa, one world, one country. Like Sam said, right? One country? No? No. One continent. One continent. Okay, so this is what people see. This is what I see. The beautiful continent made up of 54 different countries, many different languages, cultures, and religion. But of course, when people ask me, why Rwanda? Why Rwanda? I can't, who has time to really go through all of that? I can't sit here and lecture, you know what I mean? So I say, why not? Why not just go? You know, I didn't really know much about it, but you know, why not just go? I wanted to know for a fact, I wanted to know for a fact what happened there. I wanted to know about the genocides and the pictures and the stories that I'd heard. I wanted to get involved with the teachers through the teacher training program, and I wanted to be exposed to a different side of Africa. I wanted to be exposed to another African culture. Because I knew what I knew from visiting Nigeria, which is where my family is from, but my experience in Nigeria cannot sum up the entirety of what Africa really is. So I was ready to see for myself, and I went in with no expectations, and I said, Rwanda, here I come. Welcome to Rwanda. So my stay in Rwanda was probably the most eventful my life has ever been. We shared stories. I found out that I'm a pretty great storyteller. I was a magician. I make a really good impersonation of a dinosaur. It was fun. It was a great time. I can say that I really felt, I've never been so comfortable, and you can testify to that. I never felt so comfortable. Though we visited many places in Rwanda, such as the Congolese refugee camp, we spent a couple of days at the orphanage, as John told you many stories, and of course our teacher training. They're all worth remembering, but there were really key moments that resonated for me, or resonated with the theme of this all, my mind, body, and soul. So in Rwanda, I discovered a mind, body, and soul. Let's start with Azizi life. Azizi Life is a community of artisans. In 2008, the organization Food for the Hungry partnered with the Rwandan government to help train and promote small businesses within the rural communities of southern Rwanda. The idea of this initiative was to give the local people the skills necessary to run successful businesses. In addition, they would be improving their literacy and numeracy skills, ultimately becoming business owners. Ooh, time to get to good stuff. Okay, upon arrival, we were greeted with a lovely dance and song. And here we have Dan rocking it out here with his friend. Very nice, very nice. I must say they tricked me though, because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Okay, I thought we were going to go to the village, we were going to dance, we were going to eat, we were going to share some stories. No, that's not what happened actually. Shortly after, I found out it was going to be hard work. Indeed, it would be a day in the life of Azizi. It was not a walk in the park. So we began with chores, and these chores were not your everyday wash your dishes, make your bed, take out the trash. These were hard stuff that I do not do every day in my life growing up in the city. So it was pretty difficult. We began with chopping up vegetables with very sharp and large knives that I have never seen before. We assisted in the kitchen. We cultivated. As we see my husband here doing a good job. We cultivated, we fed the cows, and last but not least, we fetched water. So, when I was younger, I lived with my grandmother in Nigeria for 2 years. I had seen people fetch water, but usually there was a well in the compound, and so you take about 10 steps to fetch the water. This was not the case in Rwanda. We trekked for about a mile up and down hills to fetch these big jugs of water. And right there and then, I almost passed out. I was like, I cannot do this. This is too much. I had never pushed my body to those limits ever. And as we're climbing up the hill, you know, I'm carrying these 2 jugs of water, and I'm like, oh man, oh please, I don't want to pour half of this going up the hill, because then I have to go back down and get more water, and I don't want to do that. And I remember looking to my husband and saying, husband, carry me up this hill. And he said, no, woman, you got this. So indeed I did, and we kept it pushing. So these were definitely rigorous routines for me, but I realized in that moment that this was just an experience for me, and this was their lives. I couldn't fathom it. They were strong, yet graceful. And honestly, there was no room for me to feel sorry for them. As much as I wanted to say, oh man, you know, they have to do this, and they have to do that, and you know, I can just go to my kitchen and get water. There was no room for that, because these women were happy. They were genuinely happy with what they were doing. They knew that they had to work hard as a community to enjoy the fruits of their labor. And I understood that. Indeed, it was a very valuable experience and a worthwhile project. It was one of my moments, one of my favorite moments in Rwanda. Ooh, now to get to some stuff. Are you guys ready? It's gonna be kind of tough. I'm joking. No, seriously, get ready. Okay. Another key point for me was visiting the Genocide Memorial. For those of you who are not familiar with the genocide that occurred in Rwanda in 1994, it was a mass murder of the Tutsis and moderate Hutus. Now, these acts of violence were committed by the Hutus against the Tutsis and the moderate Hutus. I stress the moderate Hutus because they were the Hutus, they were the Hutus who went against the majority. If you were caught, you know, protecting or trying to save or defend a Tutsi, you were killed. If you went against the Hutu commandments, which I thought was crazy, but if you went against that, you too were killed. It was 100 days of slaughter. 10,000 people killed a day. 10,000 people a day. That's 1 million people in 100 days. We visited 3 genocide memorials: the Belgian Memorial, the Kigali Genocide Memorial, and the Nyamata Church. The Belgian Memorial was the first memorial that we attended. And at that moment, I really wish I had Molly. I call Molly for everything. She helps me out. Molly, you did not go, right? Yeah, she was sick, so I was really sad because, you know, she'd been prepping us, you know, telling us, okay, you're gonna expect this or do this, but don't expect to feel any type of way. And, you know, I didn't prepare myself mentally. We got off the bus, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go see pictures, or we're gonna go see, you know, statues, or I don't know what we were gonna go see. But like I said, I didn't prepare myself. And the first thing I saw, this is me right here, guys. So, you know, it's me. The first thing I saw or noticed were the holes on the wall. The first thing I saw were the holes in the wall. And I couldn't get over how big they were. And I was just like, who's gonna survive that? Who could possibly survive that? Like, that's brutal, that's ruthless, it's not right. Ooh. Okay. I remember entering the room, and I examined the corners of the wall. I felt the walls, and immediately my attention gravitated towards the corner where you could still see bullet holes and the splash of blood where those soldiers who were protecting that base perished. I remember looking at each of their pictures, and I said to myself, this could have been me. I said that. I see, Don. I know. I know. I said this could have been me. But I was wrong. So, one thing I learned about this entire experience in Rwanda is that when you are left in a situation where you're just marinating and you have nothing but the space that you are in and nothing but your thoughts, your brain comes up with the craziest things. You come up with, you know, these ideas and concepts and what ifs and whatnots, and, you know, I had a lot of moments like that in Rwanda. But in this one in particular, I said this could have been me. And maybe about 2 minutes later, after really thinking about what I just said, I said, no, that's selfish. That's selfish. It was selfish for me to even make that thought, that comment, that statement, because that could have never been me. It wasn't me. If it was supposed to be me, it would have been me, but it wasn't. That was not my fate. That was theirs. And when I said that, I wanted to cry, because what can I do in that moment? How am I supposed to feel? And I remember turning to Lily beside me. I remember turning to Lily beside me, and I asked her, could we have been so brave? And we both said no. Man, why take me to Rwanda? Oh man, okay. Yeah, so that was tough. The second memorial we visited, which is right here, was the Kigali Genocide Memorial. This was just as difficult, but only this time I was able to match the pictures and faces to the stories that we've been hearing and reading about. So for me, I was able to get a better understanding of the unfortunate events that took place. The last memorial was the Nyamata Church. And, oh man. I wish I had pictures, but I'm glad I don't, because they're very hard to look at. Very, very hard to look at. So I went from being in the same building as the victims from the Belgium Memorial to actually seeing the faces and the pictures of other victims. Now I was in Nyamata. I was no longer looking at faces. I was now staring at skulls. I was no longer looking at pictures with the clothing of children. And I just wanted to know why. Why did this happen? I needed answers. My reason for coming to Rwanda was to figure out what happened in the genocide. How did it take place? Who did it? Why? And I was about to get that answer. I woke up to the singing birds and remembered, today is the day. Today I will be shaking hands with the spawns of the devil, and I'm afraid. But I told myself, be strong, show no remorse. You know, I was going in there like I was going in there for a battle. I had the helmet on and everything. Said no eye contact. I even wore my hat. I was like, I'm not looking at anybody, just no eye contact. But it was hard for me to hold that composure when they greet you in such a way. In Rwandan style, they greeted us with a warm song and dance. All right. To be honest, I couldn't wait for that to be over. I couldn't wait. Ooh. It was time for me to get busy. Right? I had hard-hitting questions that I couldn't wait to ask. After all, this was the whole purpose. This was why I was here. It was time to blow them away, the questions that I had. I was here to condemn them, which was wrong. But at the moment, with all that I had built up inside me, from seeing all those memorials, you know, I went from being sad to frustration very quickly. But I was so nervous that I asked the rest of the group to go first. So I asked them to ask their question. I let them ask their questions first, you know, just to kind of get comfortable, get in, you know, the realm of things. So yeah. But after the exchanges of questions and comments, I began to loosen up. It was as though the ice around my heart began to melt, and I started to actually feel in that moment. They asked questions like, so what were you doing before this? Or what were your jobs? Or a lot of you, raise your hands if you're a father or brother or grandfather. And then it quickly went to, so how did you join the militia? Yeah. Their answers were simple, yet hard for me to take in personally. They said, we were farmers, and we were afraid of the government. They tricked us into thinking the Tutsis were not our brothers or sisters. It was to kill or be killed. And in that moment, I felt some sort of compassion, but I couldn't. What can you really do in that moment? Now that I know that, possibly their backs were against the wall, they had no other choice. They had no other choice but to do what they did. And here I was ready to be like, hey, I wanted to show them the pictures that I took. I wanted them to see my diary. I wanted them to know that I cried looking at these pictures and these skulls and these, and the shirts of little boys and little babies. I wanted them to know, but I couldn't. In that moment, it was hard to be present in a time of uncertainty. So as I'm going through all of my thoughts and I'm like, I don't know how to feel, I don't know what to say, I don't want to look anywhere, I don't want anyone to know that I'm tearing up or crying, even though we were all crying and tearing up by the end. It was just a very complex moment. I had never been in a situation like that. I had never had to, think so hard about my morals, ever. But in that moment, I had to. And as I'm sitting here, or I'm standing there, and I'm just thinking, and my thoughts are consuming me, I hear Drew say, "Okay, guys, ready to do the play?" And I'm like, "How can I do the play? Well, I can't do the play. Like, I'm not mentally here. I'm not here. I can't do it. This is too hard." Of course, we put on the play. Of course, we put on the play. But like I said, it was hard because it just wasn't an easy thing trying or having to pretend that I was genuinely happy in their presence. Because I was not happy having to do this play for them. I was not happy sharing smiles and laughs in that moment, but I had to. I remember this one part of the play. I guess you can say I was on standby because I was kind of like this. It wasn't, the scene wasn't coming up yet. But I remember just kneeling down, I was crouching, and I just spaced out. I spaced out because I didn't want to be there anymore. I wanted to be anywhere but there. I wanted to be back home. I wanted to be hanging out with some friends. I even wanted to be in school. I wanted to be anywhere but that moment. And I remember looking up and making eye contact with one of the prisoners. And immediately I began to tear. And it was just weird. I didn't know why I was crying. I didn't know I was crying. And in that moment, I asked God, I said, why would you allow such a thing to happen? Why would this happen? How did this happen? Why wasn't it stopped? And before I could get those answers, the first thing I heard was,
and I don't know what to read, what to write, or what to do. And I don't know what to read, what to write, or what to do. And I don't know what to read, what to write, or what to do.
And in that moment, I genuinely did not know what to do. Here I was staring at these men. The same men who took lives mercilessly.
But they were forced to.
The same men who turned against their neighbors.
Out of fear.
The same men who almost destroyed an entire country.
But they were brainwashed.
The same men who took machetes to the heads of babies. There will be no humanity without forgiveness. There will be no forgiveness without justice. But justice will be impossible without humanity. I'm almost done, guys, I promise. Today I was afraid. I thought I'd be shaking hands with the spawns of the devil. But no. I shook hands with men who have come to terms with their mistakes. We danced. We shared smiles. We shared humanity. Who was I to judge? How's everyone feeling? Good, good, good. So it's coming to an end. I know this presentation has been some sort of a roller coaster, an emotional roller coaster, especially for me. But I do want to let you guys know there have been many moments of just simple joy, fun moments, laughs, smiles, shared. And I just want you to kind of take a look at this. I appreciate each and every moment that I have here. I appreciate the group that I went with, the friends that I've made, the connections that have become stronger due to this experience. And I just want to say thank you to the Anne Frank Project. And I want to give a special thanks to my biggest supporter, Ms. Barbara Nelson. Thank you.
Special guest appearance by Ashanti Bryant.
Yeah.